Hello, everyone. Welcome to our annual event in celebration of National AI Literacy Day. This is our national town hall, sponsored by the National Parents Union. I am Jason B. Allen, your host for today. I'm the National Director of Partnerships for NPU. And just a little bit about us. We are the united independent voice of modern American families, creating and implementing positive policies impacting each and every one of you. Thank you so much for those who are watching this on StreamYard. We have over 200 of our viewers there. We're also live on our Facebook page, as well as YouTube. So again, thank you everyone who is viewing this live. If this is your first time, please make sure inside of the comment area, you tell us who you are, where you're from, your organization. We want to make sure we are connected. Now, in the celebration of AI Literacy Day, this is our Literacy Week for the National Parents Union. We are all over the country right now activating parents and families, but especially in DC right now, as we have been really presenting information on the science of reading to help us fill the literacy gap and ensure that all of our young people are prepared for future careers that AI is definitely going to be impacting. Now, we have a phenomenal panel that is going to be speaking. We have some students that are going to be talking to us about AI, how it's showing up in their schools, in their lives, and most importantly, how they are getting ready for future careers centering AI. Without further ado, we have a very special guest that is going to be joining us in a moment to talk about all things AI, talk about this very special day, National AI Literacy Day, and some phenomenal partners that are helping to make all of the activities throughout the day happen. So please join us in welcoming Andrea to the platform and the stage. She is going to introduce herself, tell us about the amazing work of the EdSafe AI Alliance, who is one of our amazing partners, and go into some information about AI. So Andrea, we're passing it over to you.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you all for being here today. I'm Andrea Claver, Project Manager for the EdSafe AI Alliance. And I just wanted to thank you all so much for being here in celebration of National AI Literacy Day. This is one of our spotlight webinars. And just wanted to kick us off by sending a thank you to our steering committee members, the EdSafe AI Alliance, AI EDU, the Tech Interactive, and Common Sense Media. This day would not be possible without their leadership in this space. We also wanted to give a thank you to National Parents Union for their partnership, as well as our corporate sponsors, which include Google, Booz Allen, IBM Skills Build, Siegel Family Endowment, and Kapoor Foundation. Their financial contribution is what helps us make this such a huge day and so impactful for many. If we keep going in our slide deck here to slide 4, you'll see an overview of the other synchronous events that will be happening today. So I'm very excited just to introduce our event here, the impact of AI on kids and modern families. You can visit ailiteracyday.org to see all of the other events and sign up if you're interested in continuing throughout the day. And with that, I won't take up any more of our time, so I'll pass it back over to Jason to kick off the panel.
Thank you so much for joining us, sharing this information. I'm super excited about the movement for AI Literacy Day. Now, if you are viewing this live, I'm big on the hashtag. Make sure you are following AI Literacy Day. I'm seeing all of the messages come in from the tech team, but also everyone who is viewing. And I'm definitely going to say, make sure you visit all of the activities on today, including major shout out to Ohio right now. Some of their school networks are sharing this and are definitely utilizing the hashtag. So I'm excited to see more young people, more parents, and more teachers engaged in these conversations. Again, Andrea, thank you so much for joining us on this very special day. And we are going to move forward again. Thank you to everyone who is viewing this live. Tafshir Cosby, we love you. This is our Senior Director of Organizing, the Center of Organizing and Partnerships. And she is always on the move. We call ourselves AI enthusiasts. So thank you, Tafshir, for always advocating on behalf of our children and families. The phenomenal Christy, she is our National Organizing Director. She leads I call them the powerful PPC, the Parent Power Collective. This is a body of organizers across the country who are helping us to put kids first in all of the things that we're doing. So excited to see so many of our supporters, our partners who are viewing this from all over the country, North Carolina, Virginia, Michigan. Thank you guys again for being on. I wanted to just make sure I gave some highlights to all those who are viewing on all of the different platforms. Now, listen, I also am excited about, AI Literacy Day this year, last year, but also this year. I had the opportunity to serve on the National AI Advisory Board, some phenomenal members on this board who are doing some great things. And again, please make sure you get connected to the hashtag. As I'm speaking, the link that was perfect. I feel like I just waved my hand and it came up. On the screen is the link to all of the AI Literacy Day activities. And there are some students, again, who are going to be on the panel. And so I know that they're going to be connecting some of their, their friends, fellow student leaders and colleagues to this conversation, because AI is the way of the future. It's here now, but it definitely is the way of the future. So those are all of the announcements. We are about to hit the time mark for our panel to come on and really get into all of the things AI, and we may be able to let you reclaim a little bit of time on today. But again, thank you all for being connected to this conversation. I am going to welcome our panel, and as they are coming on, each one of our panelists will have an opportunity to tell us more information about who they are, where they are from, the organization or school they are representing. And then I have a question that I'm going to ask all of our panelists to share with us as we go throughout this conversation. And so that question, everyone, is what is your favorite tech tool that you like to use, that you are currently using? I'm going to tell everybody right now, I love that the Polaroid camera has made its way back. I absolutely love it. And so that is my tech tool device that I am absolutely in love with. And I'm going to say this to the panel as we get ready to pass it over to our very first guest who's going to do introductions. I would love for the Walkman, like the old school Walkman, to make its way back. I would love to see how AI can help us reclaim some things from the past. Okay, but enough of me talking. Tatiana, we'll start with you. We'll hear from Hannah, followed by Garrett, then Zach, then Brian. So Tatiana, let's hear from you.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Tiara Jordan Sutton. I am representing the state of Missouri. I live in St. Louis, and I'm the CEO and founder of Activate Missouri. My favorite tech tool is my Meta Ray-Ban glasses. I'm a mom of a 6-year-old baby, and I got to capture all her amazing moments. So it makes it a lot easier for me to catch her in action with those glasses.
And I don't know if I was saying this out loud, but I meant to say Tiara if I didn't. I was reading Tatiana's message, and I'm also, it's a lot happening behind the scenes, guys, but it's okay because welcome to being on a live stream event. But thank you guys for being here today. Okay, let's go to Hannah.
My name is Hannah Whedon. I am a student at University City High School in St. Louis, Missouri. And my favorite tech tool is actually my iPad, which is what I'm using right now, because there's a lot of benefits. It's basically like a computer, but I can use it easier. I can use it to capture pictures, like do homework, play games, and it still like functions as a phone and an iPad. So it's a really good tool.
See, what I hear you saying is that AI is supposed to be a resource and a tool. I'm getting it. I hope that the viewers are connecting the dots here. We're hearing from the young people. Garrett, let's hear from you.
How are you guys? I'm Garrett Ruffin. I'm a senior here at University City High School in St. Louis, Missouri. And I would probably say my favorite tech tool would just be my phone. Um, Being able to have so much information accessible to you, like from your pocket, and you can play games, take pictures, everything like that. It's just really good. So I would say my phone for sure.
Okay, so I'm not going to do this for everyone, I promise. I probably will. But Garrett, what I hear you saying is for those in different generations, the cell phone is almost like having an encyclopedia with you and a dictionary, like just walking with you all day. So you can just readily get information. That's
For
what I
sure.
think
For sure.
that I hear you saying. So, okay, Zach, let's go to you.
Thanks so much, Jason. My name is Zach. I'm with the nonprofit Reset Tech. We're a member of a coalition called the Kids Code Coalition, which brings together a wide array of organizations from across the US to advance meaningful legislation to better protect kids online. And a lot of that relates to AI legislation today, advancing in states and federally in this country. My favorite piece of technology, I'll admit, it's my smartwatch. I love keeping track of my steps on a daily basis, making sure I still go outside, stay healthy and active.
Oh, the main idea of this is staying healthy and active. Now, if you don't have one of the watches that helps you with that, I'm old school. I have on my old school watch, but come on, come into the new age. I love that, Zach. Thank you so much for sharing. Brian, let's hear from you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Jason. And man, the Walkman. I'm now thinking about all those mixtapes I could have been making if we still had a Walkman. But thank you, Jason, and NPU, and for all the folks joining us. Apologies in advance. I was dealing with a little bit of the flu right now. My name is Brian Baker, joining you from Corvallis, Oregon. I wear a few different hats. I lead the national pilot of an AI-enabled learning tool for a nonprofit organization called Power My Learning. I am the founder of 24th Century Education, which is an organization focused on helping schools become future ready and future focused. Through that, I also establishment of the Oregon Media Literacy Coalition, which is a group bringing together over 40 statewide and national organizations focused on youth media literacy and AI literacy education, as well as the wide-ranging outcomes those literacies hold for youth. Happy to say that organization includes both NPU and Innovate EDU, our co-host today. Very excited to be here with all of our panelists, especially the students here. Favorite tech tool right now, I got to go with the Headspace app. Let's face it, these are some unsteady times that we are living in right now, and it could be nice to have a tool in my pocket that helps me be mindful, take some deep breaths, and just get to a better place regardless of what's happening out there in the world.
Okay, listen, everyone. They are dropping links inside of the comment section for you to get connected to events throughout the day, and also sharing this conversation. Now, I have to say this, and Tafshir, I totally agree. Yes, Brian, bringing in the balance of social emotional, not just learning, but also development. And I also will say this, aging is a part of development. Living is a part of development. So it's not just children that are impacted by AI, but we all are impacted by AI. So now that's my 2 cents on the connection to health and wellness. It should not be separated from this. And Brian, again, thank you so much for sharing that tool. I know that several of us utilize that. So I'm excited for that shout out. Okay, we have a good set of questions, guys. We have a good 40 minutes. We're not going to keep you guys for 2 hours, but we want to get into all things AI. And Hannah and Garrett, we want to hear from student voices first. We had a good conversation beforehand. Everyone who is viewing this on all of our platforms, again, thank you guys for viewing. But behind the scenes, we had a great conversation about AI and all things. So Garrett, Hannah, we're going to hear from you all on what are you all thinking about AI? How is it currently transforming the way that you see us living now? And also, what are your thoughts on AI in the future? So let's hear from our students first.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Oh, you can go first.
Okay. So personally, I think AI has like good positive benefits if it's used the right way, because like everything needs to be done in moderation. Because like personally for me, I do struggle with math, so I use like Golf AI. They have a really good way to like teach you and like they have like a tutoring like section of it. So I think AI is really beneficial if it's used the right way. I also do believe a lot of careers are also going to be like taken over through AI because I want to go into architecture. And like one of the things I was looking in is like how much can AI like take over with that career path. So I think it's a really beneficial thing if it's used the right way.
Okay. I have a follow-up for you too. Garrett, let's hear for you.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, I really do agree with that. I feel like as long as the AI is used in moderation, you have to use it correctly. I use it personally, a few times, for homework, different things like that. But you have to use it as a helper. You can't let it, kind of take over your learning and different things like that. But instead, kind of use it to enhance. And in that sense, it really does help you. Like if I miss a class or I miss some work, I can use different resources like that, and it'll help me get caught back up and even give me information that I wouldn't have learned else. So that was really good.
Okay, I love that. So now what I'm hearing is that AI can be a tool, a resource that is being used. Now, I'm also not hearing that AI is something that is just completely taking over your lives. You're in front of your screens all day long. You don't have any connection with your friends or peers. I'm not hearing those things. So my next question, my follow-up question, and then we're going to go into our next topic with all of the panelists. Do you feel comfortable if AI was to, let's say, replace your teacher or replace your like connection with your friends and peers in school? What are your thoughts around people wanting to see or maybe trying to push an agenda for AI to do those things?
I personally don't think that would
Mm,
be good because oh sorry. Because personal connection
very fair.
comes through like emotional connection. So you can't really take away like human connection with technology because that's the one thing technology doesn't have. So I think that would not be logical because you're gonna lose like the importance such of it. Because you can gain information, but like having someone who's like relatable to you tell you it would like kind of just make you kind of like feel and understand it more, if that makes sense.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much. It's not a right or wrong either.
Mm.
So I
Mhm.
appreciate you all lifting up your perspectives. Garrett, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I agree with Hannah. I just feel like, at least, certainly for the classroom, different things like that. I like having that, connection with my teachers, being able to go to them for different things and help and everything like that. But also just knowing them on a little bit of a deeper level kind of helps a lot, especially with, getting to know work and everything. So I feel like AI is good to help you, of course, but I wouldn't like it to take over. And then especially also with friends, having that just the socializing aspect and everything like that is always really really good. So I feel like yeah, it shouldn't replace or anything like that.
Awesome. Now, listen, this has kind of sparked a new conversation. I'm watching the comments inside of the chat. And let me say this, I have to do it publicly because I did not uh, make you all aware of this. Now, Tierra knows this because she's been in meetings with me before, and we have a script, we follow it. However, I always go with the need of the people, and I feel like there's a need for us to go maybe slightly in a different direction with the conversation. And so for this second part, I want to go into the usage of AI. I love that Mama Tammy Campbell is watching from Texas, and major shout out to all of our Texas partners and parent leaders who are on the ground advocating for how AI is being used in our schools. Zach is a part of the Kids Code Coalition, which is doing some phenomenal work with making sure that teachers, educators, parents, students are connecting to all things coding. That's leading the future, generations at workforce. So we're going to hear from Zach on his perspective. Brian is leading a phenomenal coalition in media literacy. And a big concern of parents, I'm giving a lot of context here. So when we get to the question and answers, everybody will be on the same page. I'm connecting all of the concerns around usage. So the second area of concern is, parents, children, teenagers. We've all seen this on not just TikTok, but various apps, being able to decipher, is this video real? Is this fake? And so how AI is being used in a way that it can manipulate not just our children, but also our adults and others in vulnerable communities. So we do have Brian with his expertise that we will hear from. Tierra, Garrett, Hannah, I really want to hear from you all on what's happening in our schools in regards to AI being used for data tracking and a lot of breaches where students' data is being leaked, or facial recognition, and now students are being discriminated against coming into their schools. So for the second question, the concern has been around how AI is being used. And so we have three different areas of expertise. Zach, we're going to hear from you first, followed by Brian, then Tierra, and then Hannah and Garrett. So Zach, we'll kick it over to you.
Thanks so much, Jason. And I think it's worth saying that what we're seeing very quickly is AI being adopted in schools and by educators all over the country in a variety of different ways. And I think it's really important for there to be good transparency with parents about how these tools are being adopted and used in the classroom, so that you have an understanding of what's happening with your kids, and that these tools are being deployed and used in safe and responsible ways. But I think there's so many cool and creative opportunities to use this technology to augment the learning experiences of kids. You mentioned, Jason, coding as one opportunity. I think AI tools can be invaluable, and I think helping expand the capabilities of kids to explore new formats like coding, with AI being an increasingly useful tool for building out websites, for ideation and creativity. So I think there's plenty of opportunity for students to explore those tools and to do that in safe and responsible ways that are transparently shared with parents as they're integrated into the curriculum. So it varies. I think it's good. It's a good question for you to take to your schools and to your educators to better understand how it's being used, and really encourage folks to not be shy about raising questions and getting the answers they deserve when it comes to what's happening in the classroom with their kids.
Questions leads to accountability. I'm not going to do this for everyone, I promise, on this time, but I had to say that piece, because if you know anything about NPU, we help to amplify parent and family voices, especially around how things are being used, how is it impacting children and kids. So yes, questions lead to accountability. Brian, you're up next.
Right. So, I mean, I think the question and Zach's response touch on a lot of different issues. When we think about the application of AI in education, the main idea that I always lead with, whether I'm working with parents or doing consultation with school districts, is that the use of AI, that AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but it is also very imperfect. It has a lot of flaws to it. It can create inaccuracies. We know it has inherent bias. But again, it is very powerful, and in the application of learning, it can absolutely transform learning, can personalize learning in a lot of powerful ways. But I think the most important idea behind it is that AI use creates both benefits and risks. And I think Hannah really hit the nail on the head earlier when she said that when used effectively or when used appropriately, AI can have a number of benefits, and that's absolutely true. But I think we're here on Literacy Day to consider the fact that we have to help students construct, and teachers as well, construct that AI literacy in order to be effective with their use of AI in education. And when we talk about AI literacy, I think there's kind of two helpful definitions for AI literacy for us to kind of consider. One is how the tools work, how to use those tools safely, ethically, and effectively, right? Not sharing personal information, how to create an effective prompt, how to evaluate the outputs that the AI generates. But I think there's a more important layer beyond that, which I would call critical AI literacy, which includes technical AI literacy, but it's also examining how does the use of AI impact the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of those people using it? How does AI impact, how is it impacted by larger systems such as democracy, civic discourse, the environment, the economy? And that And I think, again, understanding how it impacts thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, I kind of call that human literacy. I think human literacy is a really important component of AI literacy or media literacy. And as I mentioned earlier, AI literacy and media literacy really should be addressed in kind of an integrated fashion. And so when I
Yes.
look at schools are utilizing it, there's a wide range of ways they're approaching it, and a wide array of ways they're approaching AI literacy as well.
Brian, okay, listen, I said I wasn't going to do this for each speaker, but it's so phenomenal. There is such a huge connection to media literacy and AI literacy. This is my 21st year in education, and I have to advocate for school librarians because people don't realize that teachers are not responsible for teaching media literacy. That's why you have a school librarian. That is the person who is responsible for, think of it in this way. I intentionally mentioned encyclopedias because for that era, for that generation, it was the encyclopedia. For this generation, there are tools such as AI through the internet, which is also a tool that is used to help connect people to information much faster, much more efficiently. And so if we think about it in that way, you will see that all of these things are connected. So remember this when we get to our calls to action at the end, because we need more technology specialists. We need teachers trained in the science of reading for human literacy. All of these things connect and are needed. Tiara, I'm going to let you take it from there. I promise no more interruptions.
Okay. Yeah. So from parents, we're getting a lot of questions about this. AI hit the scene quick and it's been evolving, and there's been a lot of things popping up and a lot of opinions. So just like with the work that we do around advocacy, the number one thing is that you don't need to be an expert in AI, but you do need to be aware and engaged. And so we often tell parents there are some key questions. And most times, if you have a high school or middle school age student, they know a lot more and they're more experiencing with those tools. And so ask those questions to your child, like what type of AI are you using? What are you using it for? Encouraging them to use it for explanation and not answers, as we talked about before. And then talk about ethics, honesty, originality, and responsibility. So bringing some of that research in around how do we use this effectively, because we know we're still figuring it out and it's moving fast. On the teacher end, how I kind of explain this or talk about this as a former educator is I kind of use this analogy around like AI is like a calculator for thinking. We don't hand students calculators until they have their foundational knowledge in math and those basic facts. Think about AI as the same thing. You have to have that core understanding, your own thoughts and understanding, and then how can AI kind of amplify or strengthen that? It is not the first go-to. That is not your natural thoughts or information that you are really grappling with and understanding. So I don't think it's something that you can ignore. There's some people who are wanting to say just ban it. I don't think that is the right thing. I think we need to lean in and we need to understand it while also knowing there are people working really, really hard to put protections in place and to provide information so that we can all use it responsibly.
Oh, using it responsibly is so great. Okay, we're up to Hannah and Garrett. Now I want to switch it up just a little bit here because we have a question from the audience that I think is befitting. And it's based off of what you all mentioned earlier about the balance and how AI is being used as a tool. There is an intentional movement to say that, all students are bad and we need to have things in place to, make sure that they're doing better because data says that students are failing. They're not learning, right? Which we do have some learning gaps, but I don't think that equates to students being bad. The same conversation that teachers are not impactful and they are not, helping their failing children because data is saying that children are not at the levels of literacy that they need to be. So my question to both Hannah and Garrett is, what is happening in your schools? What are your thoughts around teachers and how have teachers been impactful along your educational journey, especially as AI is advancing? Like I'm asking you all this because we would love to see the role from your perspective as we're on this crossroads of advancing AI and also a need to fill a literacy gap. What role do you see teachers playing and how are teachers impacting your educational journey right now? Let's hear from Hannah first, then Garrett.
I definitely think that like the teachers are very supportive and like when we like it depends on the class, but for my newspaper my newspaper class specifically, my teacher she's very open with using AI to like branch out like an idea or to help strengthen my idea. She always agrees that like everything should be done in moderation, but like when we're like hitting like a roadblock, she'll be like, just look up ideas we can use or something like that to like give us like a starting point. She never wants us to completely just resort to using AI because knowledge is power. And like if you're not critically thinking about the stuff you're doing, you're not learning. So that's where like AI has its negative connotation to it, in my opinion. So,
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And again, it speaks to balance, is what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing you say. Garrett, let's hear from you.
Okay, so my teachers, for the most part, they're not really too big on AI. You know what I mean? They always, let's say if someone's using it or something like that, they'll make sure they go on, Go Guardian or different things like that, just to make sure that they're not, letting that take over, their teaching and everything like that. I do have a teacher, English, and he's pretty open to it, using it to like strengthen our essays, not necessarily write it for us, but whether that's giving us reasons, giving us different stuff to aid us in, making sure we're answering the prompt and different things like that. But, not allowing it to write the essay itself for us. So, everything again, like we've been stressing, is just, as long as you use it in moderation, it can be good.
Using it in moderation is powerful. And Garrett, you actually are transitioning us into the next segment of this conversation, centering social emotional learning and development. A big conversation across our country on the social emotional impact of AI and advancing technology on uh, our children and young people. And so, Garrett, we're going to actually start with you, and I would love to hear your perspective on uh, you know, thinking about the development of kids and teenagers. How do you see schools being able to balance how much time uh, young people, children are spending in front of AI or maybe a screen such as an iPad, a laptop, a device, um, or how much time they're spending, even learning outside, learning with an actual teacher or instructor? What are your thoughts on balancing that social emotional development aspect with AI tools and children?
Well, right now, I feel like, especially with the law that has been placed banning phones and devices like that in school, I feel like you get a lot of that one-on-one and a lot of the social and emotional standpoint from teachers. You build connections like that, and they really can help you out. And then, of course, whenever you go home, different things like that. Let's say you're stuck, you don't know something, you don't have contact with your teacher at that time. That's when I feel like AI can step in and kind of lend you a hand, and just aid you forward. But yeah, for the most part, I would say that you know you just have to make sure that what's it called, that you use it the right way.
Awesome. Thank you. Hannah.
I definitely think like it kind of stems at a young age. So I kind of have like a thought that like there should be more restrictions on it at a younger age so they can learn how to use it in moderation. But like um you kind of have to grow and to know how to balance your time and like balance like critically thinking, critically learning because that is like really important because you can't like understand like through AI if you're not trying or thinking about it. So I do think like with our phone bill from Missouri, I think that it's kind of beneficial because it also allows for you to obviously have more emotional connections with the people around you and not just be on the screen all day. But I also do think it is restricting as well. So
Hannah, you and Garrett, I hope people are gaining so much hope from hearing from you all. The way that you address the questions and how it is so centered and it's balanced. We have a struggle in our country with people who are on the far left, on the far right. We have a struggle with people coming to the middle, and I just really appreciate the balance that the two of you all have. That really, I'm hoping is giving hope to others, seeing that our young people do have it. I'm really confident in our young people from you all's engagement. Brian, Zach, Tierra, I want to go into this question in a different direction with you all because uh, balance is key and also regulation. And I would love to hear from you all around the responsibility that corporations, big tech, ed tech, our school districts, our elected officials have on making sure that apps, the gaming world, YouTube, like they have restrictions on ads. And here's why I'm saying this, because you have young children who are on, for example, YouTube for kids, or they're on a game for children, and then a 5-second ad comes up, and now they're watching a 5-second ad about a war, or it's fake AI, and they don't know the difference. And so that's where this is stemming from, the social emotional impacts of children who, again, are not, to Hannah's point, able to decipher what's real, what's not, because that takes maturity. And somebody should be held responsible for regulation and making sure that ads and other things are not being presented to children who are not responsible or age appropriate for them to handle those things. So that's what I would love to hear your perspective from the three of you on this question. How can we protect kids through things, not so much of policy, but maybe regulations and accountabilities?
Zach, go ahead, please.
I think it's a great question, and I think there's plenty of room and opportunity for our elected officials to ensure that we have product safety guardrails for online platforms in the same way that we do for other industries, whether that be cars, food, you go down, medications, go down the list. There's a lot of product safety rules in place to ensure that kids and adults have safe experiences. When we look at the online world, even though it's new and evolving, we see opportunity for design-based protections, and that's a key part of the policy we try to advance at the state and federal level in this country. And that really falls into two buckets in terms of, I see it as like design-based protections, that including privacy by default protections for minors online, ensuring that kids, when they're on an online platform, their accounts have the highest level of privacy by default, the highest level of data protections, so that their data isn't able to be used to create hyper-curated experiences or to target them with targeted ads. And then safety by design protections that continue to build on that to ensure that kids aren't subjected to manipulative design practices. We've seen major social media companies just in the past week brought before courts in this country and found guilty by juries of using casino-like design-based features to addict and exploit the time and attention of young people. So there's ways we can learn from those cases and look at design-based capabilities that ensure that kids are able to still access online platforms for learning and exploration, but to do so in a safe way where they're not the product, but they're the ones using these products, I think, to better access and understand the world around them.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Brian, Tierra, let's hear from you all.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo everything that Zach has said. And this is fully recognized bipartisan organization. I myself recognize a bipartisan organization, not trying to make a partisan point. But what we have occurring at the federal level right now is three concurrent things: a push for wide adoption of AI in schools, a push to deregulate the use of AI in schools, and cutting funding to schools. The combination of those three things, again, not trying to make a partisan point, that is irresponsible, if not just downright insane. There absolutely need to be regulations and guardrails in place. Obviously, that is not going to occur at the federal level at the moment. And as NPU recently put out in a piece, I believe within the last week or so, there is some legislation being proposed at the federal level, but it does not go far enough and actually does create some loopholes for tech companies to continue exploitive practices. And so would highly encourage the parents on the call and the students on the call be in dialogue with your school, be in dialogue with the other parents in your school community, do an internet search. It is likely that there are organizations within your community, if not your state, that are focused on advocacy to make AI safer for students. Obviously, we've learned from social media that we cannot just accept the version of the tools that are going to be developed for youth. Zach alluded to the essentially addictive nature of social media, which is what the whole Meta lawsuit is about. We see some of those same things with large language models. There's a reason why every time ChatGPT gives you an answer, it then asks you at the end, well, do you want to do this? What about this? Would you also like to do this? That's not it being helpful. That's it trying to keep you on the platform. That's called being sticky. It's also sycophantic, right? AI, like ask AI what it thinks about your idea. It's probably going to think your idea is great, regardless of whether it actually is, right? So again, AI, a powerful tool, it absolutely has benefits, but to use it effectively, we have to recognize that it has those tendencies. And yes, those tendencies should be regulated. In the absence of that current regulation, I think engaging with local and state governments and hoping that the organizations that you advocate to can then turn their advocacy towards the state and the federal level as well.
So I'm smiling because Tierra probably already knows that, Brian, you have already given your statement to be accepted into the Kids First Caucus. That was phenomenal. This is actually the work that NPU does and making sure, again, Samantha, everyone putting comments inside of the comment section. We have the Kids First Caucus within the National Parents Union that is bringing together advocates, policy leaders in order for us to put kids first in federal legislation and also on a state level, things that are really impacting economic stability, education, health, and safety. So, Brian, we definitely would love your voice a part of that. Christy and Tafshir are putting inside of the comment section our polling around, making sure that we don't let big tech off the hook. Parents and caretakers, family members are stepping up to the plate, and we have, organizers represented in all 50 states through the Parent Power Collective. If you're like, I'm a parent out here, advocating on my own, Christy and that team are phenomenal. We can connect you. All you have to do is get connected to the National Parents Union. If you're like, hey, I just heard what Brian was saying, and we need guardrails. We need more parents and caretakers in meetings influencing, policy and helping to draft policies and solutions, then we have that right here at NPU. And even for Hannah, students, we need students. We need you. So that was my public service announcement, because Brian took us on in, and since the doors of the church were open, I figured I had to just make that I had to make that statement. I want to take us here, since we're at 1:45 in the hour. This is National AI Literacy Day. Brian brought up a great point, something that's happening right now in our country. We're seeing schools that are being closed. There are impacts to local schools from their federal budgets and dollars that are being taken away from, professional development that is supporting teacher training with literacy and making sure that students have one-on-one devices to be able to learn in schools. Now, I'm giving that statement because here's my question. Zach, Tierra, Hannah, and Brian. Garrett had to hop off because we have students and, students in school. So major shout out to schools and teachers that are supporting us with National AI Literacy Day to be connected. Here's my question, and I want to hear from our panelists, and I want to hear from those who are viewing in the comment section. And this is not anywhere to be found, so you will not have any background. But here's the question. If you could reimagine our public schools, what is one thing you would like for schools to include in the future? All right, so we're reimagining school. So take everything that you may know about school out of your mind. And if you could reimagine school as you know it, what is one thing that you would like to see in schools? I'm also going to give my answer too, but everyone, please give your answers inside of the comment section. And also, Zach, I think I want to hear from you first. I saw the wheels turning, and I was like, okay, we're gonna hear from Zach first. So, Zach, kick us off. If you could reimagine schools, what is one thing you would love to see?
You know, Jason, you're putting me on the spot because that is a really tricky question, but I love the imagination it inspires. For me, I think it comes back to resources and making sure at the end of the day, our schools have the funding and the resources to hire the best educators and to have the time and space to work with community to ensure that those resources and tools are best utilized for kids' education. But
Okay.
that's foundational in my mind, making sure the public schools have the funding they need to really
Okay,
thrive.
funding. So we're going to go with funding, and funding is the resource. And let me also say that just because you choose one thing, that does not mean it won't have others. But funding. Okay, I'm making note of that. Tiara, what's yours?
I think mine would definitely be stop the one size fits all approach. We're kind of designing schools the same for communities and people across the country. And I wish we took more time to really understand social emotional aspects, cultural aspects. Kids are not experiencing the same things. Parents don't all want the same thing, but we push out and create schools in the same way. I would love to see schools that are really representative of the communities and the children's and the family that they serve.
Okay, so personalized, no one size fits all. So if we could reimagine schools, a major thing that schools would need in the future is funding. We know that. And we should invest in education. It should be personalized. And I think that we see a lot of advocates that are advocating for AI, that there are safety measures that can be put in place for it to be very personalized for children who learn differently, which we all learn differently. Okay, let's hear from Brian. What is one thing you would love to see schools have if you could reimagine what
Yeah, I
schools look like?
love this question. Absolutely. One of the organization I founded, 24th Century Education, is focused on making schools future focused. I think that the most important change that schools can make is, and I'll say this, like, yes, absolutely, preparing students for career and college is essential for education. But I think we have started to focus too much on that, and what that focus on college and career readiness does is it equips our students to be participants in the economy of today. I think instead we should arm our students with the knowledge, skills, and dispositions to be shapers of the future and society of tomorrow. I think that is a more empowering form of education. I think it's a more impactful form of education. And I think that human literacy idea that I mentioned earlier, helping youth understand their own and others' thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and how those impact human well-being, I think that is the most essential thing that we can be teaching students, and the most essential thing that is at the core of helping students make a more just future for themselves and for others. And I think that very much connects to AI literacy and media literacy specifically.
I love that. Funding, because schools need funding. And let me also remind everyone that across the country, a lot of our elementary schools have deficit budgets. That's how we know that we're in a state of emergency around education. If principals and school leaders can't make sound decisions around their school budget, they can't meet the needs of our students. So funding, learning, if we could reimagine education, should be personalized. Creativity should be centered, that students should be creators, not just learning from what we may be wanting them to know instead of teaching them to learn. Okay, Hannah, let's hear from you.
I'm so sorry, I'm on lunch right now, but I definitely think schools should have more student-led opportunities because that is like something that's really important. Because when kids kind of like have their own motivation, they'll be more prone to do it. And that's why like that would just like strengthen education and people would be more excited to learn. I also think what Ms. Jordan said, it should be more community based because people do things different ways and you have to be able to cater to that. So 'cause that's something my school offers really well. We have a good community-based, like, education system, but we aren't really good with student-led opportunities, so that's what we're trying to strengthen. So I think that's really important.
Hannah, first of all, thank you so much. I know you are on lunch, and many people are on lunch watching this, so thank you so much. I cannot wait to eat my salad after this program. So, Hannah, I understand. Thank you. And I appreciate all of these responses, because this is why I asked this. We have to have a balance in everything that we're doing, especially in the presentation and usage of AI. I know people have lots of strong opinions, and so I want to bring us back to this. Garrett and Hannah really gave us hope in being able to center ourselves and say, you know what, my opinion is way on the far left, but I understand that there are people on the far right or in the middle who are having different experiences. They have different viewpoints, and those differences, to a point that Hannah just made, that's what makes us unique. That's what makes this life worth living. And so being able to connect those dots. So now let me tell you, if we're reimagining schools in the future, as AI advances, we know that our schools are going to need funding, right? So our school leaders shouldn't be struggling to provide children the best education possible. No one size fits all. Education should be personalized for not just the students, but remember, we're all learning. So teachers and school leaders should also be learning from the students, right? Because it's not just music, but it's culture, it's other ways of life that shape the way that we live and how we learn. We want our children to be creators, and creativity drives that. I'll remind us that we also are global competitors, and creativity, if you haven't looked up what Australia is doing, or some of the countries in Europe or Asia, or even in the Middle East, like, remember, we have people investing in different places. So one of the things that these areas specifically that I just mentioned, how they're using AI is for creativity. I want America to win. I want, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, black, white, I want Americans to win, and I want us to be prepared. Our children can't be global competitors if they're not able to be creative. All right. Now, student-led opportunities. We know this is needed. We heard from Hannah. Students are saying they need student-led opportunities, and I'm going to give you guys mine. If I could reimagine schools, in the future, I believe that field studies, okay, let me break it down a little further. Field trips should be something that's a mandatory experience for all children and educators, to be able to really see how AI, how, society is moving forward, how we're creating, how we're building, what the careers of today are looking like, and how it is speaking to what tomorrow can be. If you're not out in community, if you're not seeing what businesses are doing, if you've never seen what happens in a boardroom or in a warehouse, then you don't really know how these policies and how the things you're learning are impacting and, connecting to the life that we all are living. So that would be my reimagining something, because all schools don't have field studies or field trips because they can't afford them. Remember, funding. See how it all connects? We are 5 minutes out of the AI Literacy Day conversation. There are so many things to learn around AI. You can't learn it all within an hour, which is why we've been dropping the link to different things going on throughout the day, where you can learn about generative AI. You can learn about what is big tech doing that is impacting your local community, maybe data centers. AI is a tool. It is a resource. It should not be our total way of life. And with that being said, I want to give final thoughts to our panelists to tell us, what is one tip that you would give? Just one, because I was going to ask you guys for 3, but what is one tip that you would give to students and families about responsible AI usage at home? And Tiara, we'll start with you first.
All right. My one tip I would give is to balance AI use with real thinking and human conversation.
I love it. Brian, Zach, and then Hannah, I know you're eating, so by the time you get to that last bite, they'll be done.
Thank you again, Hannah, for making this work. That's awesome. For me, I think it's reflecting on how is AI use impacting your thoughts, your feelings, and behaviors, right? Is it pulling you away from the real relationships in your life, or is it enhancing them? Is it enhancing the way that you think, or are you starting to offload your critical thinking to AI and allowing it to do it for you? And I'm going to drop some links in the chat from a few different organizations who have some great resources on exactly this topic.
I love it. Zach.
And I'll just build on what they said and encourage folks to get involved in your community and better understand what your elected officials are doing to still fight for safer online platforms, including these AI tools for kids. We don't have to accept the way they are right now, and we can fight for, I think, those safer experiences for kids and ensure that they have those healthy experiences online.
Awesome. Hannah.
I was gonna say, just remembering that you're in control, you shouldn't let it control you. But I wanted to say something else, and then also like just bring like talking back about moderation. It's very important that you do everything with moderation, and also just what I said before, that knowledge is power. So don't lose your power and knowledge.
I almost screamed. That's why I had to go on mute. And I think Tierra was already Hannah, that was so profound. This is a tool. Everybody, please remember this. And Hannah said it best. This is from students. AI is a tool. So we can have some comfort in knowing that it's not taking over the young people. It's not taking over their minds. They are going to be successful. They understand that this is a tool, it's a resource. And again, let's have more conversations around how it's being used, how it's being developed. Remember what Brian and Zach both just reminded us of, that these tools are developing and we still have time, and we also still have the power that Tierra mentioned to be engaged with entities like the Kids First Caucus in helping to influence positive policies that put kids first with AI tools and technology. Now, listen, it is almost 2:00. This was a great conversation, and I was able to just connect the dots and weave that together. And I will say that what the panelists have received in the last couple of months, it went so different in this hour, but it was the perfect conversation for this time. AI safety is vital. It is important. It's urgent for all of us to be in the know, for everyone to know that you do have a resource with all of these connections through the coalitions, the organizations that are represented today. What a phenomenal celebration of AI Literacy Day, really honing in on the impact of AI on kids and modern families. Hannah, Tierra has to get you connected with us. We have a student panel in April. We'll be connecting with one of our partners, Dignity in Schools, on April 16th at 12 noon. We're going to be doing a student panel talking about not just AI, but school safety, the literacy crisis. What is the viewpoint of students on, yes, future careers, but also what they need in schools right now? We're going to be hearing from students, so definitely want to get connected with you, Hannah. We also will be partnering with earthday.org on that conversation. And guess what? We have some student leaders that are advocating for a seal to be added to high school student diplomas if they are a student leader advocating for climate justice. Our data center is helpful to our schools. Are we utilizing energy in the proper way to advance us into the future? And I think that's exciting. I have on my Earth Day ring right now, so you can tell that I am definitely in support of that. So that's what's coming up next for the National Parents Union. Make sure you stay connected. Visit nationalparentsunion.org. Again, everyone, please join me in thanking this amazing, amazing group of panelists on today. We are at the end of AI Literacy Day. Thank you all. Stay connected. Go to all of the links. Most importantly, make sure you visit nationalparentsunion.org to get connected to how we're putting kids first. Thank you all.